Hi, guys. This is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on the Supernatural Show. And we're having a few technical difficulties. Shannon is in her vehicle and trying to do the co host role from her vehicle, but her phone is overheating. So we're having a few problems. I imagine she's going to pop back in here at some point. But we have a pretty neat show for you here today. And we're going to get right to it. I've got a video, an interview with a gentleman named Graham that he had an experience with. He was out in the woods one day, and he'll tell you the whole story, but he was out in the woods one day sitting in his truck, and he was getting ready to be deer hunting. And, oh, here comes Shannon back. Let's see here. Let me bring her in. There she is again.
Hi.
We
Sorry,
are
I'm having
we
some
are live.
technical difficulties.
I was just explaining that to him. And how are you doing, Shannon?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Where you at again? What city?
I'm in the city of Los Angeles today.
Yes, Lost Angels.
Yeah.
It explains a lot with Hollywood being all there, don't it? The Hollywood,
Yeah.
you know,
The magical wand.
magical one. That's right. It's the city of magic, you might say. Well, I'm glad you could make it back. What happened? Your phone overheated again, or what?
Yeah, it might do that on and off. So if I'm in and out, guys, I apologize, but we'll get on top of it throughout the show.
Belky Balkaran says Miami Bigfoot, big Beachfoot here. Okay, well, thank you for dropping in, buddy. And it says he also said Hola from Yeti Beach, Florida. I know they have these beings down in Florida as well. The thing is most people don't really understand that these beings are real. But we're going to be watching here in just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and start up the video. We're going to be watching an interview with Graham, and Graham had a first-hand account, and he's actually taken us to the location, exact location in the woods, where he's going to point out and show and explain in depth exactly what happened and what he's seen, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it after the video here in just a moment. Thanks for being here, Dale. I think I sent you an email today too, Dale. Check your email. Um, let's see. We got another comment here. None in UK. I don't know. I don't know if there's. I've over on. If I let me show you this real quick. If you go to this guy's channel on YouTube, it's called The Facts by How to Hunt, or you can just type in How to Hunt and run a search for it. This guy, he lives in on Vancouver Island in Canada, and he has people emailing him from all over the world. And yes, even UK, he gets people emailing him, explaining experiences that they've had. And I'm sure that there were some from UK because I've watched a lot of this guy's videos. He has done an extraordinary job. Steve, that's his name, and he's done an extraordinary job. This is a guy that lives in the mountains. He takes you up in the mountains and shows you where he lives and where he goes. He spent most of his life in the mountains, in the woods, in Canada, and runs into these beings. Has run into them, but he has different kind of experiences because you can know that something exists without actually seeing it, although he has seen one in person. But he has different types of experiences with them. Even in his videos, sometimes things will happen. So I wanted to recommend his channel in reference to this subject, and also this channel, Bob Gimblin. He's got a different style, but a really fantastic style that he does in telling his stories that he researches more about him researching the topic and the story, and he goes more in depth in a single story. So, hello, Mr. Phone. And but let's go ahead and let's watch our video today. And so we can talk about it when we get done. But check this out. guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on the Supernatural Show. And today I have a guest with us, and he's going to tell us about his encounter with a small pod or family of Sasquatch or Bigfoot or Sabe or whatever it is you want to call the beings that live in the woods and in the mountains of our world. And we're actually at, or very close to here, the location where Mr. Graham seen these beings, and he's going to tell us the whole story. So we're going to ease on down here, and then we're going to get out, and Graham is going to tell us the story about what he's seen and how he's seen it, and so on. And part of it is actually about sitting right here in the truck. Was this the truck, Graham? No, this wasn't the truck. Okay, different truck. So anyways, so Graham, tell me, just like we did a while ago, just tell me what happened, and then let's go up there and we'll show them the exact location and everything and what all went down when you seen these beings.
Well, why don't we pull on up here about where the spot was at, and then I could kind of point it to you.
All right.
Let's
pull on up to the spot here. And how many years ago was this, Graham?
It's been 10 years.
About 10 years ago.
11.
10 or 11 years ago. Okay. And this road is more cleared out now than what it used to be, right?
When I seen Bigfoot, this road wasn't here.
When you seen the Bigfoot, this road wasn't here.
Wasn't here.
What were you driving on then? A little
I had
trail?
I had come in from front of my house and come in through the field up here.
Oh, you come through the field because this road wasn't even here.
Right, it was all power line. That's all it was here, was power line.
Just the power lines, and you rode through the field, which is back over in there,
yeah.
And came out up here.
Yeah, come out. You go down, there's a pond up here.
Okay.
And as soon as I get up here, they've got houses in here now. I can't drive in there like we used to. So I'm going to have to just point toward it.
All right, that's fine.
There wasn't no houses here at all. Just a ditch line. They were walking right there.
All right, we're stopped here, and they were where now, Grandma?
On this ditch line right here.
Which way were you facing at that time?
I was sitting. See them trees right over there, oak trees or them pine trees? There was another line. There was a fence that went across. There used to be a hog pen here. And the trees had grown up another hedgerow, just like that one. They were all big, tall trees.
Okay.
And I'd parked right yonder.
So you'd cut through the fields back
yeah,
here.
I'd come in. There was a road.
None of these roads were here, and these houses weren't here.
No, this was all fields. The road come in from over yonder, where the light poles on the other side over there. I had to come in from front of my house over there, come in that way, drive around, and I come in, and right there used to be a road to go across the ditch, and I drove up in there. All this was fields then, but the hedgerows was go there, this hedgerow, and then there was another one right there. Well, I parked right in between the two, right there where there was an opening there, where I could see that corner over yonder, the far corner of the field.
Uh-huh.
So that's usually where they come out, right there, somewhere over there.
Okay.
Well, I was sitting there, and I was deer hunting, and it was raining. That's the reason I didn't get out the truck. I just sat there because it was cold, and I was just sitting there looking. And I decided I'd light me up a cigarette because it was about 20 or 30 minutes before dark. And I said, well, I'm going to smoke me a cigarette to get the smell out before it gets dark.
And you were deer hunting or what?
Deer hunting.
Deer hunting.
And I just happened to glance at the mirror like that, and I seen something in the mirror, and I said, what in the world? And
so you were facing down that way.
Facing that way.
And so you looked in your mirror and looked back towards us.
Back this way, and right there on this hedgerow. Where them trees are right there.
Right there where those trees are right there.
Right. You come across that. Well, there's another ditch over there. You come across, up out that ditch, you come across the road and come into here. Well, there was trees growing from right along here, all the way to the rest of the woods, all the way up to that edge of that, about where that old white tree fell yonder.
Mm-hmm.
The trees run all the way up there on this corner. Because it was real wet right there, so they let the pines grow, and they were probably 30, 35 foot tall. That's how I judged how tall.
So the pines were 35 foot tall at that time that were on the edge of the
pine
fields.
trees.
And how, of 35 foot tall pines, how tall up the pine tree approximately was the main one? There was 3 of them, and there was one in the front that was the big one.
The biggest one.
And how far up the tree did you estimate that he was?
I say he was 12 to 15 foot tall because he was half the length of the trees.
He was half as tall as the trees.
That's right.
So it puts him up between 12 and 15 feet, somewhere's in there tall.
Right.
Wow.
And the other 2 were probably 7 to 8 foot tall, but they wasn't near as big as he was.
How much, if you had to guess, and of course it's a guess, but how much would you guess he weighed?
I don't know. He was the biggest creature I ever seen. 1,500 pounds, I'd say. He's as big as a moose, bigger than a moose. He could take a moose and sling him.
Ooh. Yep.
He was wide. He was wider than my truck. And I was looking at him at a side view.
So his shoulders or his body was wider than the truck?
And thick. He was thick. I mean, 4 to 5 foot thick.
Mm-hmm.
Huge, big.
And how big were the other 2 that was with him?
I'd say they were 7 to 8 foot tall, maybe 9. But the last one, right before he went in the woods, he kind of looked around like that.
He gave you the pink eye?
Well, he didn't really. I mean, because they moved so fast. By the time I seen them, by the time I turned around like that, they were going in the woods.
So where did you first see him approximately?
Right yonder.
Okay.
There was a.
Right, and you've seen him in the mirror.
Okay,
and
you see them trees coming down this way right there between the house and that's a ditch line.
Okay.
They come up out that ditch line on this ditch line, and they walk right down on the other side of the ditch.
And where would you say approximately the last spot you've seen him over here?
Right along here, because the trees started growing up right here, the briars and trees and stuff.
So they came out over yonder.
They come out from the pond over there. There's a pond over there.
Mm-hmm.
And see, I drove in from over here, drove around the pond, and pulled up in that road right there.
Right. But you've seen them, they come out across that ditch line over yonder.
And come this way.
And come here. And about how long would you say it took them to cross that amount of ground?
Not even a second and a half. Time I turned around, the big one was going in the woods.
But they weren't running?
No, they wasn't running. And if they
it was just their stride was so far.
They moved so fast.
But if you're talking about somebody that's 15 foot tall, their stride is going to be probably at least half of that.
By the time I seen him come up out the ditch, I turned like this to look because I couldn't believe what is this. And I turned like this, and that's how fast it was. They coming from right yonder to right here within a second.
Wow.
And really the only last one the last 2 I seen the best. Seen the big one go in the woods, the one go in the woods, and then the third one kind of looked around like that and he went in the woods. Just boom, boom, boom.
How far apart were they walking from each other, you reckon?
They were right behind each other.
Right close to each other.
Right behind each other. Like they were stepping in each other's tracks.
How would you describe, if you remember, just what you remember, how would you describe how much hair they had on their body?
They were covered in hair. Body from the top to the bottom, but they had around here is like a face, a human face, but there was hair everywhere else.
Okay, so the face was
about like your beard right there, but this here you can see their eyes and face.
Kind of like me.
The last one I could see, kind of like no hair right here.
No hair right around the immediate face area.
Right around his face, eyes.
Right.
But the other ones I didn't really see in the face at all. Just that one that turned a little bit.
Just the one that looked.
Yeah.
Did you notice anything at all about the way they moved or anything?
It was so fast. It was
just fast.
It was just fast. That's all I'm saying. And it was amazement and automatically fright.
For you?
For me.
Did you feel it before you seen them, or did you only feel it once you seen them?
After they left, I was feared. When I seen them, I didn't know what to think. You know what I mean? But as soon as I figured out, oh man, that's Bigfoot, I was scared. I was ready to get the hell out of these woods.
Right.
And I did. Because when I turned around in the field, I cranked up, went into the field, spun her around, and I come down. I stopped right there and looked to make sure they wasn't coming back out. And when I come down through there was a hole right there where it come across the ditch. And when I hit that hole, I was sideways. When I come across the ditch, and I went out that driveway over down that road as fast as that son of a bitch could go. I had a little Nissan flatbed truck with dual tires on the back, and it was going everything it could do.
Yeah.
I got out of here.
When
And I didn't come back for 3 days.
you didn't come back for 3 days.
Come back for 3 days.
Have you ever heard them howl, Graham?
No, I hadn't heard.
You haven't heard them howl.
I've never heard them howl. I have smelt, when I've been down in the woods before, I have smelled a bad odor, but I never seen nothing or heard nothing.
What did it smell like?
Rotten fish, sulfur smell.
Yep. Rotten fish, sulfur. Yep. Have you ever been in the woods around here and fear struck you? And you didn't know why you were scared and you left the woods?
No.
No? No. Just that time?
Just that time.
Okay.
I used to walk in here, didn't even have a truck, and I'd walk from my house all the way across them light poles over here, across that field, and go over yonder and set to dark. And then walk all the way back here.
Through the woods?
Well, back to here, you know, and then
fields in the woods and stuff.
Walk out through the fields.
How long you been living around this area, Graham?
35 years.
35 years. Yep. So you know these woods then. You know this area.
Yeah, I know this area. And I've seen bear tracks here, and I've seen marks where bears have marked the trees down there. And I've seen a black panther.
Oh.
In that field right there.
There are a few around, they say, around here, yep.
He was a black panther, and he was big. He was bigger than he was about the size of a Great Dane. He was black all over.
That's a big cat.
He had a tail. His body was probably 3.5 foot long, and his tail was as long as his body. And he made a jump. When he jumped that fence, the canal, and landed on the other side. And the fence is about 5 foot from the canal. He jumped the fence and the canal all at one time. And I never seen him again. But then I went walking over there because I couldn't believe what I even seen. I was trying to make out what I was looking at. But I seen where he was trying to catch them deer in the field. And you could see where he was like a cat trying to slip up on him. And you could tell where he had walked, and you could see the paw print. About that big around.
Wow. Yep.
Cat print.
And you said you've seen a bear back here too?
Yeah. No, I ain't never seen a bear, but I've seen signs.
You've seen signs of a bear?
I've seen poop and tracks and scrapes down there on a tree.
Okay.
But since I seen that Bigfoot in here, I ain't really hunted in here a whole lot since.
So now you said that the Bigfoot that you've seen, the Sabe or Sasquatch, whatever people want to call them, you said that one of them turned at you and glanced at you, and you seen that it had a human face?
Well, no hair around this.
No hair. Did it have a snout like a bear? Or did it have a more of a...
No, it had a kind of like a flat-looking nose.
Flat-looking nose.
Not like mine.
Close enough like...
He looked more human than he did a gorilla.
Okay.
In the face.
All right. More human than even a gorilla. And definitely you would say he wasn't a bear.
No.
A giant bear. It was
there ain't no bear that big around here.
It was something that was like, had somehow human-like characteristics.
Oh yeah, they were moving gracefully on their two legs.
Gracefully on the two legs. Yep.
And if they'd have wanted to hurt me, they could have tore me apart. Because they wouldn't have not could have done about it. They're peaceful creatures.
Yep. Masters of the woods. They're as comfortable in the woods as you are sitting on your couch in the living room. And there's nothing in the woods that can really challenge them. I suspect, anyways.
And I don't think they eat meat as much as people think they do.
As much?
I don't think they eat deer. I don't think they eat meat as much as people think they do.
Oh.
You know, people say they kill deer or elk and stuff like that. I don't think so. I think they're more of a vegetation. They plants.
They know what
berries.
they know what to eat in the woods, where we'll walk right by it and
Right.
be clueless that we can eat it.
Right. But I don't think they eat as much meat as people think they do. And the scat, that's the reason you don't find no scat. Because it's all vegetation. It disappears in the rain. It go away. Unless you find a pile of it right now, what he just done, 2 days from now, you won't be able to find it because the bugs have got to it and the weather's got to it, so you wouldn't see
Just
it. You wouldn't
disintegrates
notice it.
real quick.
Right. You wouldn't even
Plus,
notice
they're obviously highly intelligent, so they may be do like a cat and cover it up too, you know.
Well, I don't, but the only thing is, I wonder if why ain't nobody ever found a skeleton of them. And there might be a logical reason for that too, but I don't know what it is.
My guess for that is that they have been found, but it's obvious that the government does not want us to know that these creatures exist. So I think that anytime somebody was to find something like that, they end up calling some authority type figure, and then it gets hushed up.
Oh yeah.
You know, because I
I
don't know why they don't want us to know these beings exist, but they exist.
I ain't never told nobody but my family, you know. That's the only people I ever told about it.
Well, there'll be people in
and my friends
Australia.
Laugh at me. I got friends that laugh at me.
Well, I ain't laughing at you, Graham. I believe you. Be completely honest. Camera aside, I'm telling you, I believe you.
Fact, let's just drive up here just a little bit.
Okay.
If they wrote us off, they wrote us off.
Right? Can't get rid off but once.
I'll show you where the road went in there, where I went up in there.
Okay. We'll take a closer look to where he actually came through and went down into that field over there.
I see the woods started right there and went back to the corner.
Was this ditch line grown up like it is now?
It was thicker.
It was thicker.
Yeah. See here, right here.
Okay.
This is the road that used to go through here.
Right.
Drive right on up yonder in between the two fields. But this is where they come out. The pond's right yonder, and they come right down that ditch line right there. Across that ditch was coming up right there.
So the pond's back in the thicket back there?
The pond right there.
Oh, right there.
Right there where the trees are.
Yep.
And they come up right through here. When I first seen them up here, I looked in the mirror right here. I was sitting right yonder, about 100 yards, and they come out right here behind me. Went right down the edge of them woods right there, right into them tall. The pines were about 30 foot tall because there was a whole hog pen there, and it had been growing up about 15 years. So the trees, 10 to 15 years. So the trees wasn't all that tall. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, it was just getting to where you could walk through them because the briars were dying out. You know what I'm saying? And they had a few deer paths that went right through here, and they were following that deer path. And 3 days later, when I finally decided I'd come back down here and just look, you couldn't tell where they went through them woods there. No
just look undisturbed.
Undisturbed.
You ever found any weird structures or tracks or anything out here?
Well, I have. I didn't really think about it at the time, but yeah, I have seen kind of like trees piled up, several trees piled up in a pile.
Okay.
Kind of up like a teepee kind of, but you know, I really didn't pay it too much attention.
Okay.
It was a lot of times it was where the bugs had gotten to the pine trees, and the pine trees were dying. And
or maybe they were placed there, still alive, plucked out of the ground, and then rotted over time too.
Could have been.
We don't know, but what we do know is Graham's seen 3 creatures walk right through here.
But see, none of this is all field. And all
none of these houses
there,
were here.
Yeah, all that back there, the only thing was there was a power line. The power line was there, but the grass, you know, it stayed up about 6 foot tall until they, you know. But they usually keep it pretty trimmed on that line. But I'd go up there and hunt the power line. As a matter of fact, that's a lot of times what I'd do. I'd just pull down here and I'd park my truck up there, and I'd walk down here and I'd sit down right there on the power line where I could see both ways down the power line. But it was raining that day, so I just...
Because the deer would come out in the power line sometimes.
Right.
In open shot,
The power line runs right down through there. But
that power line, he's talking about the one that you can see those power lines back there. He would sit and look up and down that power line is what he's saying.
But that day it was raining, so I decided I'd drive my truck right there and just sit in my truck. Because it was cold and raining.
Right. Wow.
But
15-foot
That's the
tall.
first time I seen him. It was right there.
Right there, yeah.
And when I turned and I seen him in my mirror, and I said, "What in the world is that?" And I turned around. Well, I said probably more than that, but thinking more than myself. And I turned around, and by the time I turned around, that daddy passed all the way down through here to about right yonder, and they were going in them short pine trees. And I had to come in from over there. So when I come out here, I was running about 30 mile an hour, and I crossed here. The road run out around here because it was going around the field, you know. And I was trying to stay out of the field. I was sideways when I come through here, and I went around that and went out the road.
Yeah, I'd have probably done the same thing, to be honest. You're talking about a 12 to 15-foot tall, 1,400-pound, half man, half, well, we don't even know what, and two other with him. Holy smokes.
He was a big creature. He was big. He was as big as the other two that was with him.
Did you know at that time, at that moment, did you know that's a Bigfoot?
No, not until I turned around and seen him going into the woods right there.
Okay.
That's when I said, that's big. That's three of them.
Yep.
That's a whole family.
Wow. That's truly an awesome account, Graham. I thank you very much for sharing it with my audience, you know, because I'm recording this, of course, for my audience on the Supernatural Show.
I'm going to tell you, as soon as they went in the woods, it was like instant fear. I was fearing for my life. I had to get out of here. And I ain't never been scared of nothing in the woods. And I wouldn't attempt to shoot it.
Oh, it'd be ways to be like BBs.
The only way I'd shoot at it is if it was going to come toward me and hurt me, or coming at me.
Like a desperate
you know what
thing,
I mean?
Yeah.
But I think they're peaceful creatures.
Yeah. I think for the most part, you're absolutely right.
If they'd wanted to hurt me, they could have.
Right.
There wasn't nothing I could do about it. They took my truck and threw it in the ditch over there.
Right. Well, guys, that's Graham's story about seeing three Sasquatch. And personally, I absolutely believe him. And because I've had experiences and I've heard them yell and howl, and they've beat on the house before. They've done all kinds of weird stuff over where I currently am living again now. So, but anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. Mr. Graham taking the time out of his day to take us out here and show us the exact location and tell the whole story to us. And if you've had any experiences like this, you can go on the website, which is thesupernatural.show, and you can submit your experiences on there yourself. And you can even come on the show sometimes as a guest. And so thesupernatural.show. All right, guys, until next time, we'll see you again. Okay, guys. Sorry about that. My computer was acting up there a little bit, but I think I've got it straightened out here, hopefully. Let me see if I can do that. You hear me okay, Shannon?
I'm having technical difficulties.
Yes, I know.
So just bear with me, guys.
Yep, I know you are. There, a lot of comments going backwards and forth about what these creatures are and the true, whether they're from the dark side or from the light side. And I honestly do not know. I know one thing. I know that they exist here in the woods around the area where I'm at right now, here in South Carolina, near the coast. And I know because I've had some experiences with them. And I've went through and I've explained those experiences before. The information on that is on my channel. And I'm aware of Esau from the Bible, the hairy man. But I do know one thing: these creatures are real. They're supernatural in nature, meaning that they don't follow the same laws that we do. Somebody says, "Well, why come we ain't seen a skeleton?" Well, how do you know we haven't? How do you know that the government don't have a few of these in captivity somehow? How do you think they would notify us that there's these 10, 15 foot tall giant creatures that come and go dimensionally? Do you think they've lied to us about everything? Don't you know that you've been lied to about everything? But yet they're going to tell you about Bigfoot or Sabe or whatever you want to call them. Typically, a name that's given something is because of its attributes. If you want to understand different words in the Bible, like the rod of iron, you have to think about the attributes of a rod of iron, like it don't bend, for one. You can use it to create leverage. And you are the rod of iron. You can walk with a rod of iron. But to understand anything, like Esau, basically, I believe it means hairy. And Bigfoot was named Bigfoot because that was one of the attributes that people were seeing on the ground. They were seeing these Bigfoot feet print. And so I don't have all the answers. All I can do is tell you, in my opinion, which is fairly educated on the subject, that they are real. What do you think, Shannon? Until you're
I
baptized.
I've always known that they were real, just even deep down inside. I haven't had a personal experience, but I know so many people who have, and I've seen plenty of evidence and, done a lot of history searching in the Native American culture and all of that to where I truly believe that they are real.
See, there's a prophecy in the Bible that's called the burden of Babylon. And it talks about the woods people and other things that everyone here would think is crazy talk. But the words that are used in there, if you research the words back into either Hebrew or Greek, depending on what you're reading, you're going to understand a lot better as to what it really is talking about. Because if you're just reading the Bible without looking into the actual meaning of the words, you're not reading the Bible. Because, for instance, got a lot of clicking going on there, Shannon. Fighting with that phone. Yeah, I think she's having a hard time, so I'm going to mute her mic. I muted your mic just for a second, Shannon, while you're fighting with that phone. But so I was saying, Burden of Babylon. Go look up Burden of Babylon, and I think you will be very impressed with the information that you'll find there. But you need to look up the Strong's definitions. You can't just read it and say, "Oh, I understand it," because no, you're not going to understand it until you understand the meaning of the words. Now, Burden of Babylon is a prophecy that's, I think it's, well, let me look it up real quick here. Hang on just a second. Let me see where my screen share is at. What is wrong with my monitor? There we go. Let me just look up Burden of Babylon. That way you can see Burden of Babylon. Yeah, Isaiah 13. I don't like looking it up like this, but this worked for the moment. It says, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah, the son of Amos, did see. Am I reading the King James Version? Yes, I am. Okay. It says, Lift up, lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. I'm going to keep reading it, but you see, this is it's talking about a time that will come when their purpose will take place. Um, Steve over at How to Hunt has talked about quite a few times as to how these people would have the ability physically and supernaturally to come in and take out all of the evil ones that are doing the evil things in this world. And if we keep reading Isaiah, which we will, you'll see how this plays out. It says, how ye, how, like, well, I've heard them howl 3 times one night at midnight, right here where I'm at. Well, within about 100 yards of right here where I'm at. I've heard them howl, and I've seen some of their supernatural capabilities. But it says, how ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. So when the day of the Lord comes, this is what this prophecy in the Bible says is going to happen. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed at one another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall cause her light to shine, or not cause her light to shine. So we're talking about the day of the Lord, a period of darkness, 3 days maybe. Okay. And it's saying when this time comes, that final day, that this is going to happen. And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of it her place, in the wrath of the Lord of hosts. Welcome back, Shannon.
Hi.
I'm
Sorry.
still reading Isaiah. This is Isaiah. Let me see again. It's Isaiah 13, starting at the beginning of Isaiah 13, and I'm down to let's see, where was that? Yeah, down to 14, I think. So it says, and it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. Every one that is found shall be thrust through, and every one that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. So everyone that is connected to the beast and the evil system and the evil people that are contributing to all of this is what it's saying is going to happen. This is where these Sabe people come into play in real world time, where they're going to come in the 3 days of darkness, just like it says right above. It says, their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children, and Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, The beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But the beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there, and the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. So, yeah, so there you have Isaiah 13. And let's see, I'm not sure if 14 continues on with that same prophecy. I'm kind of looking here. I don't think so. Um, it's related, obviously, but Isaiah 13, let's go back to it here. Okay. This prophecy is called the burden of Babylon. And it says that these creatures that we're talking about on the day of the 3 days of darkness, on the day of the Lord, will come out of the mountains and out of the woods and destroy all the evil people. And you will not be able to negotiate with these beings. They care not for your gold or silver, or they care not for their gold or silver. So if you want to know what these beings' purposes are, well, this is one of them apparently. I've spent a lot of time researching these type of beings, and I've done some videos and talked to them, but today was a rare opportunity to really talk about them because Graham, I was able to get a first-hand account from him, and I believe the man. He's seen them. I've heard them, and I've seen supernatural things that they've done, like smacking the side of our house, and then watching us run out like children, run around with a stick in our hand like we're going to beat up on something that we could never hurt, you know. They are flesh and blood, and they do bleed, but there's something extremely supernatural about them and how they live. You assume, well, why hasn't a car hit one? Um, this possibly it did, but you're not going to hear about it. If the road would be closed off, they would shut it down. They do not want people to know about these beings, is my opinion. So, with that being said, let me see what Shannon's thinking now that it's me. See, do I need to unmute your mic? No, you're good.
No, I was just muting it since I had to step outside my car and it's a busy street over here. But again, I do know that in the book of Noah, I know it's in the Apocrypha, it does mention that there were two creatures that were similar in description that they had on the boat as well. And I do believe that they are real flesh and blood beings,
Where,
but
where was this at again, Shannon?
the Apocrypha, the Book of Noah.
Okay, I got to
Um,
look. I got to look that up and read
yeah.
read that. I don't think I have read that. Shannon's knowledge continues to impress. So go ahead with what else you were going to say there.
Um, I do believe though they do have the capability of touching into the other dimensional spaces, and I think that might be part of why it's so hard to track them in our dimensional space, because
Mm-hmm.
they can come in and out. That's my
Right.
opinion. I could be
It
totally
appears
off.
to be at will. And if you spend any time on this guy's channel here, How to Hunt, all the people's stories that they write in. I mean, he's got uh, 1,600 videos, and the majority of them are him reading the stories that people email him on a regular basis. he started out his channel as how to hunt. He was a guide and all this, and then he couldn't help himself but started talking about this, and it took over his whole channel because people started emailing their stories. And he's got 1,600 videos, and he normally does a video every day, almost every day, and he just sits down and reads 2 or 3 emails out of his inbox. And I mean, are all these people making stuff up and they're all liars? And I didn't hear what I heard, and I didn't see the things I seen? I don't think so. Not
Well,
only that,
I know I've brought up a few times about the missing persons and the the national parks, all of that kind of stuff. And there are many accounts of children who have explained that a hairy being helped not only to protect them, but took them around, and that's why a lot of them seem to be found in completely different areas than when they were lost.
right. Yeah, it seems not in every story. I'd say probably 80% they're peaceful, but they want to be left alone. Meaning they may scare you to get you to leave out of their living room because that's the woods is their living room, and they're more protective when they have children that are with them because they have children just like we do. However, somehow more supernatural, I'm sure, but they do have little ones, and they grow up to be really big ones. Like Graham said in the interview, he estimated 12 to 15 foot tall. That is a big boy, and that is a giant. And it's not like the 60, 100-foot tall giants that there's some talk about out there, but a 15-foot tall, wide as a Volkswagen at the shoulders kind of dude, that's a dude and a half. And I believe they're real, but yet they don't come out of the woods and harm us. But yet there is the prophecy saying that there will come a day when they have a role that they will fulfill. And I've spent a lot of time thinking about this stuff and even praying on it. And Father talks to me in his own way and helps me understand things. If you've been with me for a long time, then you'll understand this, that this is how it's happened. But they are just a different bloodline of people that Father put here that lives in 2 worlds, at least, not just one. And when I say world, I mean 2 dimensions or two um, realities. They can come and go out of this one, but for some reason they have to spend a fair amount of time here. Um, but I can't. I know there's probably plenty of people that think this is crazy talk, and it is crazy talk. But here's what's crazier: you can't prove these beings don't exist, and you're not going to prove they do exist because you're not open-minded. If you ever want to know the truth behind something, you have to pray and ask for discernment. Have you done that? Have you said, Father, I really want to understand what it is about these beings that people call Bigfoot or Sabe? I want to understand what they are. Can you somehow send me some information for maybe a video from Daniel and Shannon to help me to start trying to go down that path and understand what these beings are and what is their purpose and why are they so hidden? Have we done that? Have we prayed and asked our Father in heaven for the answer? Because that's the ultimate way to discernment, is asking for it. Because if you don't ask for it, you shall not get. That's how this world works.
Well, and when you believe in God, that is another dimensional worldly thing.
Yeah.
You
They're
we
already believing in multiple dimensions.
Right, we're so focused sometimes on this fleshly material world, but I mean, even science has proved that we this flesh, this material is less real than the other dimensional space. An atom doesn't even touch another atom. When you're touching something, supposedly through science, it says that you're not actually touching it. It's an energy force that you're feeling. So, I mean, that being said, the supernatural is 100% real, guys, and this flesh suit that we're in is more the illusion, I believe,
Check
than
out this comment, Shannon, from Janine. I think, I think this is relevant. She says, "And behold, another beast, a second one, resembling a bear, and it was raised up on one side, and had 3 ribs were in its mouth between its teeth." You remember what I said about ribs, like the rib of for Eve being created, meaning it's ribo. It doesn't mean a physical rib; it means ribo. And this prophecy or this scripture says 3 ribs, so it's saying this is a triple.
triple
Uh,
strand DNA.
yeah, a- yeah. That's kind of what this. I've read this before, and I never connected this with the possibility of it being connected to these creatures. So, Janine, you just opened my mind to something pretty interesting. I think I'm going to have to look into that just a little bit more. 3 ribs in its mouth. See, this is all symbolism, guys. You're not looking for a bear that has 3 ribs hanging out of its mouth. It's all symbolism, and you have to understand every single word. Just like rib means ribo, it means DNA, 3-stranded DNA. So, did these beings have 3-stranded DNA and live forever? Or do they have 3-stranded DNA and live 1,000 years? I suspect these beings, like this 15-foot tall one, I bet you he's older than 50 years old. I bet you he's older than 200 years old. How long did they live back in the day? Well, it says around 1,000 years. And I think that that is very possible because of the understandings that I have related to our world we live in and the cycles of time that we go through and the cycles of this world that we go through. So thank you, Tracy. I mean, Janine, for submitting that comment. That is an eye opener in a way. She says that was from the book of Daniel. Yep, that's right. That was from the book of Daniel. Thank you very much. I've read it. And you may have just connected something important. So I thank you very much for that. Yep. And Janine says, yes, at Daniel. And yeah, thank you very much. Truth Driven says they live for approximately 1,200 years. Maybe, I don't know. Um, you could gather quite the population in 1,200 years, but then again, I don't know how many offspring their females produce. You know, they're not like us and been poisoned in 50 different ways. And, you got people out there running around using feminine products, putting them on their point of creation on their private areas. And those feminine products, they don't even know that they've got sterilization poisons in there to sterilize the women who put that right on the spot where you shouldn't put anything, you know. And yeah. Oh, Shannon, remember when we were talking about this kind of off subject, but remember when we were talking about the curious thing that there's hair around all points of creation?
Right.
It's, I think it is, it's deeper than this, but part of it is you're talking about a garden. And the garden is going to have foliage, you might say. It says the tree existed in the center of, in the, excuse me, in the midst of the garden, which means the center. And around the garden, you would expect to see foliage. And I think it's a little deeper than that. But we're talking about how our points of creation, and some of you will understand what I'm saying, and some of you will say, what the heck is he talking about? But our heads, this is the Holy of Holies, your head. You are in the image of God. If you've never seen God, really all you need to do is look in the mirror and you're going to see an image of God, not God himself. but an image of God because he is within all of us and we are made in his image. So, yeah, there's that. Let's see, I'm checking out the comments over here. You can jump in anytime, Shannon. I'm just looking at the comments.
No worries. I'm trying to cancel out as much noise around me as possible. So,
Right? Yeah, the supernatural is. I couldn't help but create this channel because I was being driven and driven and driven, pushed towards the supernatural because of all the angels I've had experiences with, some experience with these beings that are in the woods. Um, my life being saved so many times in situations where I should have at least gotten a scratch, but I didn't get nothing in all these situations. So it's like continues to push me to try to understand this. I actually got a text message the other day from a lady, a sister, that said, "Stop talking about the world. Stop talking about, creation and the image of God and all this kind of talk." And her only other words were, "Jesus is coming soon." And I'm like, how is it that I'm supposed to stop talking about understanding God and understanding the world, WHRLED, that we live in, the eye, the pupil, the eye of the storm, the area where it's cold, where it's calm. But which I told Shannon the other day, that is the rod. We live in the eye, the rod, the tree trunk. And if you vary outside of the eye, what happens? You run into the serpent that's whipping in circles and he causes chaos in your life. So you have to stay on that narrow path in the eye, in the rod of iron, in the eye, basically. Some of you will understand, some of you won't. But if you keep listening, you'll probably figure it out or ask for discernment, pray for it, and you probably get it.
well, and again, too, if Jesus is coming and you believe in Jesus and everything that is Jesus, and that Jesus rose from the dead and saved us all from our sins, which I 100% wholeheartedly believe, then that in itself is supernatural.
Yeah, indeed. I've had so many supernatural things happen to me. If I deny that, I'm denying the truth. And I can't deny it. I denied it for quite a while in my life, but I can't deny it anymore. A lot of people wonder why I created the Supernatural Show. There's many reasons for it. To call it a show, it gives me artistic freedom because it's a show and they don't hold you to the same standard as someone who is doing just straight on conspiracy videos. Although I've done my complete share of them, thousands of them, explaining all the deceptions and things going on in the world. But I
Jesus
think it turned out perfect, really.
Jesus said even that he did not speak in the flesh, he spoke in the spirit. And we have to remind ourselves that Jesus is speaking to us through our spirit. The Holy Spirit is within us. That is on a supernatural level.
Yeah, as long as you don't fall into the situation where you have your fire cut off, your fire snipped out, which exists right between your eyes, right behind the Christa Galley, which is the cross right in your forehead with a veil on it. The next, let me mention this. This is important. Well, first off, let me just say this. If you want to become a member of the website, we have the supernatural.show website. All you got to do is go to the supernatural.show and you want to click on this right here and it'll give you all the instructions on how to become a member of the website. Okay. But what I want to show you is in the Beyond the Veil area, Beyond the Veil, was it the live study that I wanted to show? I don't think it was. What was it? Gosh darn it. My brain's malfunctioning. Oh gosh. Let me see here. Sorry guys. Um, well, I do know I wanted to point out the Beyond the Veil live study, and for some reason it's not letting me into my own website. Oh, I ain't logged in. That would be one reason why. Got to log into my own website. I guess that's how it works, right? Okay. So we logged in. Okay. So here is the. Oh, I know what it was. I'm going to be the next Beyond the Veil live Bible study. I'm going to be, which is explained on this page. Okay. I tried to do one last Sunday, but everybody was so mixed up on the time because of the time change. Even I was mixed up. And I started it an hour early, and then I realized, oh, wait a minute, I need to start in the next 30 minutes. So I started it again. So I recreated it again. And then for some reason, after I recreated it, my computer crashed. And then it caused me to have to recreate it again. So it was just a mess. But we're going to be doing it this Sunday in the Beyond the Veil area on the website. And I'm going to be talking about I'm going to go into depth, and I'm going to show you a 3D model that I found that we can look at on the computer. And it allows you to take the different bones in the head apart, in the human head, and you can see all of these, like how we were looking at the ark the other day within us, Shannon, the boat, the vessel, that our head is the boat, the vessel. I'm going to be going into that in depth and showing that. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to decide whether I want to use this method here, where y'all guys, members of the Beyond the Veil area, are just in the comments here, and the only ones that can come and see this live are members of the Beyond the Veil. So there wouldn't be that many people in there, but I'm trying to determine if I want to allow them to come in studio, because we have another option, which is like a webinar. When I go to set up the studio, you can do a live or a recorded, or you can do a webinar. And then it would allow people to choose whether they wanted their video on, but they could still talk, and I could hear their voice, and we could talk backwards and forth as a group. It seems like I would like it more that way. And they could choose to have their camera off. So I'm just letting you guys know I may change this setup. But if I'm going to change it, I'll have it done before, well ahead of Sunday at 3 o'clock, which is when we're going to be doing this Beyond the Veil live Bible study. And we're going to be looking into the Bible, the body code, basically, of the body, and how you can see the Ark of the Covenant, the Ark itself. And we are the Ark. Oop, Shannon, we lost her again. You're going to be able to see it right in your own self. And I see it, I understand it, and I'm going to be able to show it. So, um, with that being said, guys, um, yeah, you're welcome, Betty. Yeah, logic before authority. Of course, I want all y'all guys, if you're over on Logic Before Authority, please come over to the Supernatural Show if you're on YouTube and subscribe here, okay? Because this is where all of the content that's related to this show is going to be posted. And there's going to be videos that you're going to miss that I'm not going to post over at Logic Before Authority. Because ultimately, Logic Before Authority is there for more risky type topics. Yes, it's got a lot more subscribers, but I'm trying to be careful with this channel a little bit. And the website, we can say anything we want, talk about anything we want, and we don't have to worry about it because we're behind a paywall, basically. Okay. So, but with all that being said, yes, I know about Scott Carpenter. Yes, indeed, that was bad to hear of him passing, and I really hate that. But we all got to go one day, and Shannon is back just in time for the end of the show.
Exactly. I was like, I gotta say bye before this happens again.
All right. Well, then say bye because we're fixing to be out of here.
All right. Well, guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Remember, we are all beautiful children of God, and be kind to one another. I know the world is in chaos, but Jesus loves you. That being said, come back and see us and find out what in the supernatural is going on.
Indeed. Walk in faith. Carry a rod of iron in your right hand, and know that if you let it loose out of your hand, a serpent will appear in your life and cause chaos. Just like Noah and Aaron, when he threw it on the ground, it turned into a serpent. So you don't want the rod of iron out of your hand. You want to keep it in your hand so that you're firm, you don't bend, and many other attributes that we're going to get into on a Bible study here real soon as well about Aaron's rod of iron or Noah's rod of iron. So, with that being said, guys, I love you. And until next time, know that our Father in heaven loves you. Talk to you soon.